Hey everybody, Ammie Dover here with the DoverDrive Experience. I'm so glad to have you on this live broadcast today. We have an incredible show designed just for you. Each and every one of the shows is a gift directly to you. I have an incredible Rolodex of amazing people who really are just dedicated to helping small businesses and to helping the people behind those small businesses kick their life and their business into DoverDrive. And today I have a very, very special guest with us. I have Dr. show up to work every single day. So welcome to the DoverDrive Experience, Dr. Cale Hall.
Hey, Amy, thank you for having me here. It is great to be able to share with you, especially during these crazy times with everybody being cooped up in the house.
Absolutely. So we've spent a lot of time on Zoom, as many of people have, and really are just learning to do business in a very different kind of way these days.
Yeah, I mean, right now we all are learning this new normal, and it seems there's a lot of fear out there, but fear means that we're out of connection.
Right.
And I feel that Zoom does a little bit of that connecting, but you know, we're still looking for that physical feeling that we get when we get in front of each other. So thank you for having me here so we can interact. I mean, most of the time, we do the Zoom calls and it's like, okay, you got 50 people on the screen and one person's talking and there's not much interaction. So this is great. Thanks.
Yeah, it's been incredible for me to use this platform to share, all of the resources that I have and all the connections that I've been blessed with, to be able to share that with people who are going through. Many people go through a lot in a average day, nonetheless having this pandemic and having our lives uprooted. But you mentioned something about Zoom and the connection that I really want to touch on, because you generally try to remove the emotions from business, right? You try to show up at the best version of you every single day. Well, when your life is turned upside down, you know, you're a big ball of emotions all day, every day, whether you like it or not. And so you're bringing all of that to the work environment in a different kind of way. So are you seeing that, through these Zoom connections that you're doing now?
I am, and I have to say that when you have this fear, when you're not in connection, then you have suffering, and if you don't transform suffering, you transmit it to others. So I try to really relate to the team and to everyone around me that, especially in these times, it's very important to take time for yourself. You've got to take the time to center and ground yourself, or you're going to transmit all of those feelings of insecurity and fear to others. And we are all feeling these fears, but if we all just stop, spend some time in the morning to say, oh, okay, this is me. I'm here. I'm going to get it together. And I want to tell you this too. I've found out that the more packed my day is, the longer I need to sit there, the longer I need to sit with myself.
Absolutely. So I love that. I love the fact that you say, as business people, whether you own a business, whether you're a middle level manager, whether you're, in contact with customers throughout your day, you tend to feel like the more you do, the more productive you're going to be. Well, I love the fact that you just said the more packed my day is, the more I need to sit with myself. So what are a couple of key things that people can do to really ground themselves and to have a personal sense of awareness within themselves so that they can be productive throughout their day?
Right. Well, a lot of people know that I wear mala beads, or if you're Catholic, the rosary, what have you. I do these in the morning, and there's 108 on this strand, and I do them while I'm walking. And I'll come up with a mantra, whatever it is for the day. During the day, throughout the day, if I feel something coming on, I'll just pull them off and I'll just do as many as I can just to get back grounded and centered. It's amazing what happens when you just take a breath, breathe in, and say, okay, I've got this. Everything's gonna be all right.
And it usually is all right, no matter how much we stress about it, right?
I know our voices in our heads get there, but we've got to remember that the potential is much bigger than the problem.
Right. No, that's key. So tell us a little bit about your morning routine. Like, what does that look like for someone who is as busy as you are? And I'm going to, before you answer that question, let me just tell people how busy you are. Okay. Right. So you are running multiple businesses. You have Creative Approach, who you guys have print shops in Savannah and in Atlanta. You have Valiant Marketing, which is a relatively new marketing company, which is crazy right now to have a new company in the midst of all of this madness. And you have a company here in Savannah that's affected by tourism, Club One. And so you're feeling the effects of this on multiple levels, running multiple different types of business. So tell us what your morning looks like so that you can prepare yourself to kind of go into battle for all of those businesses every day.
That is funny that you call it battle. It is somewhat of a, it's a daunting thing if I let myself go crazy and think about it. But okay, here we go. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I sit with myself for about 15 minutes. I just have to sit. And after that, I go out to the Atlanta Beltline and do an hour walk with my beats. Each day is a different type of mantra or whatever. Then I actually sit for another 30 minutes and just have alone time where I'm very contemplative, speak to the creator, and just get really set for the day. And then after that, things just fall into place. I've realized that when I don't do that, everyone around me has a horrible day, including me.
Right, because that transference of energy that you referenced earlier, that's true. And I don't think that people realize, no matter what level of position you are inside a company or whatever your status is inside your family, even, especially right now being so close to your family, people aren't realizing that there is that transference and you are impacting so many people on an exponential level when you don't have control. And control is elusive, right? But a sense of stability, at least, right?
Yeah, but there is, especially with us being so cooped up, I luckily, some may not say luckily, but I'm here alone, not lonely, but alone. So I have plenty of space for me to be able to just get myself together. But I see families that are all together and they need to make space. I encourage all of my people, my team, to make space. Sometime in the morning or whenever it's comfortable for you, you have to make space for yourself so that you can get yourself together so you can transform that suffering, because, it is suffering. It is suffering. We're here. Normally we would love to not be at work. We'd love to be at home or whatever. But when we're told we can't do anything else, then this is kind of like a jail. So it's worth suffering. Yeah.
Right. So mindset is really, really key, and reframing the situation, because the story that you tell yourself is very impactful and then transcends through the actions that you have each and every day. Now, Cale, tell me a little bit about how you're taking that sense of personal awareness for you, the business owner and a leader within multiple organizations. How are you moving that forward throughout your business?
Well, before this, I don't want to call it a situation. Before this pandemic happened, we have our meetings, and I really practice transparency. I encourage vulnerability. I encourage openness and connection. We practice that at Creative Approach Atlanta, and we do it in Savannah. And I really, now that we are digital, we have started doing Zoom sessions where we talk and we have a check-in. It's good to let everyone check in. Give me one word that you're feeling that's good. Then do another round of check-ins. All right, tell me what's really challenging for you today. That's really important for us to do, and to name what's going on in each of our lives so that we can recognize that and respect that with each other.
I love the fact that you get to own that, because I think as leaders, a lot of times, one, you're scared of showing vulnerability, because if people see perceived weakness in you, then that diminishes your power or your authority in a sense. And I think that's absolutely false. Absolutely. I think that the vulnerability that you're showing and the transparency allows people to connect with you And sales 101, regardless of whether you're selling to a customer or you're selling to your employees in the sense that you're persuading them to do something, because that's what this is, right? You really have to think about the personal connection first. People buy into and buy from people they know, like, and trust. And
right.
they don't know you. The rest of it isn't happening at all, right?
If you can't see the authentic you, then you might as well stop. You have to throw authenticity right there so they can see that, because I don't want to deal with anybody that's not authentic with me. And so I feel that everyone else should be that way as well, at least on our team.
Yeah, I was talking to an employee the other day of one of my customers, and I was talking about going downstairs and speaking to one of his employees, and he said, "Well, I'll do that later." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no! You're missing an opportunity to speak to someone and not have any true agenda. It was just an information share." And that's when dialogue happens. Your employees are not going to resonate with you when you're constantly only speaking to them to correct them.
Ammie, I appreciate that you brought up the word agenda, because so many people feel that we all come packed with an agenda, that there's just, okay, what's the reason you're talking to me? What's the reason you're taking this time to sit with me? Mm-hmm. And if we could just peel that back, then that opens up the world for so much more communication, and we can do great things, be more creative, and make the world a better place.
Well, and we as human beings tend to give information or teach or even give love in the way that we expect to receive it. Mm-hmm. But that's not always the right platform for the people who are on the receiving end. And so that communication that you mentioned, opening up that dialogue, you get to learn what your people need from you and how to lead them in the best possible way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you have to know your team, because when it comes down to it, we're all connected.
Right.
And creative approach is a team. We're one unit. When one piece of the unit feels bad, we all feel bad, or we should feel bad, and we should all lift up and make it work. I mean, that's just how it is, and you can't do that without being authentic and without having an agenda.
All right. So I am really loving the fact that, you're feeling that as a team, but I want to introduce one of your team members right now, because I want to hear how he's taking that personal culture, if you will, because that's really what we're saying, that we have a culture of openness and transparency, but then, he's your digital specialist. So I want to bring on to the DoverDrive Experience, Mr. Phil Mann, and I want to have him explain to us a little bit about how he's taking this culture and relaying that to your audience, to your potential customers, and to the community that you're set out to serve. So welcome, Phil.
Thank you, Ammie. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So tell me a little bit about how you're transcending something that is maybe not so tangible, right? It's not a product per se, that you're creating this environment, the personal connection digitally, because I think a lot of people do struggle with that, and they get online and they just want to sell, and that's not good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from myself, from my personal beliefs, I believe that language and communication is something that goes all the way down. So whenever you interact with anything, whether it's an object or whether it's something someone says to you, you take it inside you, because the words go in through your ears or your eyes, and they go into your brain, and it becomes, in a tiny way, a part of you. And we have so many associations with the senses, our physical senses that we have, and language is a really powerful one, because it goes straight into your brain and it connects you to things that you weren't expecting to feel or expecting to realize or to know, and it has millions of associations for you yourself as a person, both in what's happening right now, what's happened to you in the past, and what will happen to you in the future. So I take it as a great privilege and a great responsibility to take on board the language and the visual assets of any business I work for or any work that I do uh, in terms of using imagery and words. I think that is a really big responsibility to carefully weigh the words that you're using and to use them effectively, but also to appreciate that everything that you put out into the world lands somewhere.
True.
And you don't always have control over where that lands or how it lands, but you, I think, have a responsibility to care for that little bird that you release from the nest and how it lives its life.
Right. So I love that. I'm going to rephrase something that you just said, and the fact that we are responsible for the message and the medium in which we deliver that message. But the outcome and the way that it is consumed, we're not responsible for that. Right. So we deliver goodness in the best way that we possibly can. We hope that we have transmitted an authentic message, that we've identified our ideal client in a way that we can speak directly to them, because not everyone will get your message. And if you try to speak to the masses, then you're missing the mark. You cannot be all things to all people, but those that you are meant to serve will be looking for that type of message.
Yes, exactly. And that's where we get this idea of when you're a customer-focused business, which a lot of businesses, especially in the modern world with the explosion of communicative technology, we are identifying who the people are. It's no longer about, is my product the cheapest? Is it the shiniest? Right. Is it, the fastest? It's about, are the people that I'm communicating with the right people? And that's never going to happen if you don't know who you are and who they are. And that's never going to happen unless you make a genuine connection.
I agree 100%. And I want to say, kudos to you guys for really creating an environment that fosters this type of communication. That I love that our audience today is really getting to see that you take this very seriously. This is something that you live and breathe in your personal lives, and that you bring forward into your business in a creative way, because that's your business. All of them, all three of them are creative businesses in some facet. And when I've had the pleasure of hearing a little bit about your backstory as we've taken this journey of preparation for the DoverDrive Experience today, gotten to know you guys a little bit better and know where that creative sense is coming from and where that authentic sense is coming from. So I want to thank you so much for sharing this with the audience today. I know that you're going to impact a lot of people. I will definitely share links below wherever you're watching this right now. We'll go in and post some links to how to connect with Cale and with Phil and Creative Approach and Valiant Marketing, and really get you guys connected to them. If you're interested in learning more, leave a comment wherever you're watching this. We will make an effort to connect you in the way that you need to be connected, get the answers to the questions that you have in a way that you can best receive it. If you want more examples of how we're authentically living this message, take a look at what we're doing right now. We're giving it to you real. This is slightly scripted, not so much, right? We have an outline, and the rest of it is just have an authentic conversation and really see what comes of this. And I have to thank you both for allowing me the pleasure of spending this time with you and having some insight into both you, the humans, and you, the business professionals and leaders within the community. So, any parting words for the audience before we sign off today?
I just want to say this. First of all, thank you so much, Ammie. This is a great opportunity, especially during these times. Just remember what Maya Angelou said: if you can't change the situation, change the way you look at it.
Yes, absolutely. So a new lens, a new frame of reference, a new story that we tell ourselves. Make sure that we take care of ourselves first, and then that will transcend forward, so that your situation may change. It will change when your view of it changes, when you personally begin to accept and expect greatness, expect an abundance, expect that the right people will arrive, right? So when Creative Approach was established, they didn't know Phil, and the right person arrived because they were giving the right message. And that's really powerful and impactful. And that's the one thing that I'm going to leave you guys with today. So thank you so very much for tuning into the DoverDrive Experience. We're live every Tuesday at noon. I'll see you next week, where we're talking about turning a passion into a business and the steps that you may need to take to make that dream become a profitable reality. So thanks so much. And until next week, I'm Ammie Dover with the DoverDrive Experience. See you then.